Okay, here's a quick little exercise to understand a little bit more about your purpose. Within the 8 decisions, understanding your purpose is ultimately one of the biggest goals that you can make in our program. Quite often though, part of this is an understanding of the process to get to this stage. And also be aware that your purpose might simply to learn how to be, in inverted commas. Whether that statement makes any sense to you right now, it doesn't matter, but it will do the longer you continue with this program. Because the more time we can learn how to be in the now, in the present, just simply being, the more we are truly living. Again, another subject for another video. But let's get back to purpose. And another statement I'd like to make. There is a difference between the ego and the soul, of course. We know that. We also know that the ego drives much of our decision making unless we grab control. It is worth noting, and I've made this statement before in other videos, that the soul doesn't care what you are doing, in my opinion. So let's think of it this way. The soul is really here to inhabit your body, your avatar, in order to experience living in this world. So therefore, the soul doesn't care whether you're on purpose or not. So separate, therefore, if you believe in this concept, separate the soul from purpose. The ego absolutely cares what you're doing. However, the ego has also got ulterior motives. It's got underlying reasons for why it's enjoying certain situations. So if you can, start to work on your ego, and in particular, any self-centeredness that you may or may not have. And I say that because that often comes with being an entrepreneur. In other words, the desire to display, to show others how successful you are, even if sometimes it's purely subconscious. But this is where a deeper dive, a bit of self-inquiry into understanding, in inverted commas, you is crucial. In Q3 of our program, we cover this a little bit there. We talk about shadow work. And this is where you start to look at the darker sides of you in order to understand you in its fullest. So let's just talk now about a simple little exercise about understanding more about your purpose. Number one, when I look back in history and I start to explore times when I know I was in flow, for example, many of the times when I've sat in front of an audience and taught a subject, I have been in flow. So long as, of course, I totally knew my subject matter, that I was confident in what I was informing others. When I was in that situation, I can recall so many experiences where a state of being, a state of in flow, a state of being totally absorbed by the now ensued. So I was in this perfect state of flow. And that tells me that is my purpose. Because if I can so quickly fall into that state of flow. And we talk about this a lot as well as flow states. Professional sports people experience this all the time. And that's because they've poured so many hours into one activity that's usually aligned with their passion, that eventually their body and mind gets into such a perfect state of flow that everything seems to happen as if they have tunnel vision, they can't get distracted, and almost as if they have control of time. Again, this is a subject for another video, but it's fascinating to me. And I know when I've been in that state of flow, it does feel like I have got control of time. I've got control of those around me in a positive way, in the sense that I know through my energy, I can elicit a positive response in them. But it doesn't always go that way, of course. There have been other times when I've sat in front of an audience and I didn't feel that. And maybe I felt less confident. Maybe the subject matter wasn't quite as familiar to me as it should have been. So looking back at your history, looking back at the times when you've totally felt in flow, that is a sign. That is a sign of that being very close to your purpose, if not your purpose. Another task I'd like you to consider is this. Look at the opposite experience. Look at the times when you felt sluggish, at the times when things just aren't going your way, when you feel like in imparting knowledge to others that you can't quite get your message across, when you feel like for a number of days, every time you wake up, you're low in energy, that you begrudge having to do the task that's next on your list, that is the complete opposite. We know those experiences because unfortunately we often experience those, especially when we're not living up to our purpose, when we're not living in our true selves, our authentic selves, when we're not living in the now. So explore that too. So those are the two tasks. Look at the times when you were in flow, compare those times to the more sluggish, dreary, dull, stressful times. And the last task, look at the times when you felt most passionate. Think about this, journal this, write it down. It may well be, of course, that passion isn't the right word for you. So think of the times when you felt most fulfilled. Explore this. So those are the 3 tasks for you today. Jot those notes down. This is the first step to aligning with your purpose among all the other practices and steps and methods and tools that we will be providing you with this 8 decisions program. So go well, folks. Have a good day. Find your purpose.